Hello, everyone. Welcome to Novel Nights Live. Don't ask me where our intro went. It disappeared, and I am not going to dig for it in the files. Look, it's a holiday season, so we should get extra credits for still going live. So welcome. If you are new here, we go live every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. New York time, depending where you are. I'm Victoria. I'm hanging on by a thread. Laura, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I am in vacation mode. So.
Fran, how's things by you?
I am not good. So I actually took a fall down the stairs last week. So I am slightly injured. I don't know how bad yet. I will know tomorrow morning. So I am basically hopping around, not putting one foot down because it's
yes.
So okay. Yes, fun. Lots of great things.
Picture Francesca like Kim Kardashian, okay? She even has the knee scooter to prove it.
Yes.
So I'm just saying.
I did not want that comparison, but yes, we are twinning at the moment.
Fran and Kim Kardashian are twinning. They both have extremity injuries.
Oh no.
Okay, during the holidays. Anywho's, welcome. Today we're going to do our best books of 2024, okay? We all have our individual lists that are longer than we'd like to admit, but we curated a couple to share with you today. So I'll be sharing a handful, Laura will be sharing a handful, and so will Fran, okay? So again, we'd love to hear from you. Let us know in the comments what are some of your favorite books. So if you're watching us live, let us know what are some of your favorites of 2024. I'm going to go first. So I am kicking off Laura and Fran, and I'm going to get into my top 10 books. Now, I'm a very literary girly. So if you're new here, you might be wondering, hey, where are my recommendations coming from? They might seem like left field. But again, I'm very literary. So I have 5 books to share with you today that are absolute standouts for the year for me. Okay. So the first book I'm going to share with you is the book, the second I read it, I knew it was going to be in my top 10, which I'm going to have a top 10 video on my YouTube channel separately. But again, we're sharing 5 today. I knew it the second I read this book, and it's Beautyland by Marie-Helene Bettino. Now, this story is just so unique. It's poignant. It's a coming of age story, which is kind of my thing. But the best part is this is set in like the late 70s going into 80s in the US. So it follows our main character. She's a girl, but she isn't like your normal everyday girl. She's not like other humans because she's an alien. So she was sent here, as in sent here to Earth from a planet many, many light years away. And she was sent here to kind of observe Earth and report back to her superiors, you know, where she's from. Now, on the surface, it kind of sounds hokey, but I feel like what makes this book super special, even though we're following this girl who technically is an alien, but she's living a very human existence. And I think what makes the book stand out is how it blends the everyday details of growing up with her as she's becoming more and more aware of her identity as a person who is not from this planet. So it's a coming of age story. I just loved all the late 70s, mostly 80s references, okay? I really enjoy that very much. But at its core, this is a very heart-wrenching story. It's, you know, it's just beautiful. I don't know. I was gushing over it. Long story short, this book is good for people if you love stories are just about just the everyday, about the mundane, about just everyday human emotions and experiences. But of course, you know, there's a sprinkle of the extraordinary in there as well, because again, our girl is an alien. If you want like fax machine references, you know, going back to when humans were just obsessed with like space and moon landing and just lots of cultural touch points, you're going to get it in this book. So anyways, the second I read it, I knew I'd love it. Again, I'm a very literary girly, and it's Beauty Land by Marie Helene Bettino. Okay. The second book I want to share with you is a thriller, okay? Because I love a serious book, but I love fun too. And this is just a very fun whodunit. Benjamin Stevenson is really giving us those modern takes on classic mysteries. If you're a classic mystery lover, I quote Agatha Christie in everything. I think you'll appreciate what you're getting in this modern mystery. So this is a story, because again, mystery and thrillers, you can't say too much without spoiling it. But in this book, we have some folks on this luxury train ride. Now, these are not your everyday folks. These are mystery writers. These are publishing professionals, agents, just everybody involved in books, but again, specific genre mystery writers. So they're on board this train. It's a very popular train in Australia, and it's a part of their conference, and somebody shows up dead, right? So I know you're probably thinking the Agatha Christie book, Murder on the Orient Express, right? So someone ends up dead on a train. Now, the twist, which makes it, I guess, it ups the ante and everything, is everybody on board is very familiar with, you know, crime scenes and writing and getting away with murder. So because they know how to get away with murder, it's like they know the things to kind of avoid and what to do and what not to do. So it becomes a locked room mystery because again, they're trapped on this train. So of course, now you have to solve who committed this murder before the train gets to the final destination, essentially. So outside of the general mystery, this is very just light and humorous, lots of clever twists. And I think you'll be satisfied with the conclusion. I just feel, again, what Benjamin Stevenson does really well is just give us modern mysteries, but really ties in the classic elements. So again, if you're a lover of classic mysteries, you will appreciate this fresh modern spin. And I'm an Agatha Christie fan, Agatha Christie OG fan, and I appreciated what Benjamin Stevenson did in Everyone on This Train is a Suspect. Okay. So my third book is magical realism, fantasy vibes, and it's The Book of Doors by Gareth Brown. Now, when I read this book, I just loved it. It was just light and fun, and it gave me the escapism I needed at that given time. Fun fact, I spoke to the author for the podcast, so The Reader's Couch. You can find The Reader's Couch podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. If you kind of scroll back to, I think, maybe around April, May of 2024, I had a chat with Gareth about the podcast, about the book on the podcast. It was lots of fun because we also talked about like favorite travel destinations and just, you know, lots of things that have to do with the details in the book. So anyway, The Book of Doors is for people who love magical realism and just books about books. It's a very simple pitch. So in the novel, we follow our main character who is a bookstore worker in New York City. And while there, like she's working and then like someone comes in and they have like this enchanted book. Something happens to the person early in the book, you know, it's not a spoiler. And she inherits this enchanted magical book. Now it's a book of doors and it opens doors to other worlds and other places. Now she also has a friend. So her friend is going on these adventures with her. And in the book, we meet this librarian. Okay, so it's a book of doors, but there are many other books as well. And so she encounters this librarian. The librarian is allegedly trying to help her to kind of protect the book's secrets. Plus, again, the librarian has a whole bunch of other books that do different things. There's also someone dark in there as well who has more sinister plans for our main character and the book. So essentially, this is an adventure story as well. There's lots of travel included. We discover that there are other mysterious books and libraries, and it's just, it has a high stakes theme throughout, because like I said, there's a bad person in there who has bad intentions. So that kind of propels the story as well. Plus you're traveling to different places. So you get some armchair traveling, some adventure, again, magical realism and fantasy. So if you're a person who loves books about books and you've wanted to kind of travel through the stories themselves, then I think this book is for you. And it's so funny because just today on Substack, I asked a question in my notes saying, if you could spend a week in the world of one of your favorite books, what world would you pick? And it's been fun kind of reading some of the responses. I shared my response over there, but you have to go to Substack for that. But this book, The Book of Doors, is essentially that. Just imagine if you could just like step into a story that you love. And this one is about books. So it was lots of fun. So that's The Book of Doors. Okay, let me go to the next one. Okay, this book I also knew would be a favorite when I just read it, and it's James by Percival Everett. Now, I had read this book, let's see, when 2024, I read this book in late 2023, and I ended up selecting it for one of my reading guides as well. Actually, all these books I've shared so far have been in the reading guide, and the next book will be too. So, James by Percival Everett, I knew hands down was going to be a standout book. Now, I am on a mission to read all of Percival Everett's books. I'm still working on it. I'm not there yet, but I'm really excited when the day comes to be able to write a guide about Percival Everett, just because I'm obsessed with his work, just beyond. And James just blew me out of the water. And I think it has been nominated for good reason. And it won a few things for good reasons. So, long story short, James is a reimagining of the adventures of Huck Finn, but it's giving us the perspective of Jim, who is the enslaved man who escapes with Huck and is going down the river. Okay. So this book, instead of us getting the perspective from Huck Finn, we're getting it from Jim. And what I appreciated is that we get a full figure, whereas Twain did not do that in his book. And look, clearly that was not his intention. But in this one, we see how just intelligent Jim is, and also how compassionate. And we get to see him, how should I say it, kind of live his life on his own terms and pursue, his desires. Like, he had more agency in this book. And of course, the journey remains the same, kind of seeing them going down, what's the river called again? The Mississippi. Yes, the Mississippi River. So James is just a powerful reimagining of a classic story. It just brings to light Jim's character in a way that just explores deeper stories and questions and themes. So, of course, we're going to see, questions of, again, agency, freedom, humanity, compassion. And anyone who loves classics and you love modern retellings, I'm telling you, this one both challenges the original story of Huck Finn by Twain, but also at the same time giving us an original story. It just, I don't know, he managed to do both at the same time. So we got a new story, but it expanded on the original in just a really, really thought-provoking and compelling way. I am one of those people who would advocate that if you're reading Huck Finn, you have to kind of read James. And I know they teach Huck Finn in school, so you all need to add James to that reading list as well. So James is book 4. Now, the last book I'm going to share with you is a book I'm really excited. This is going to be a part of a series. So this is the first book in the series, and it's The Bright Sword by Lev Grossman. Now, this is a retelling. So clearly I am loving the reimaginings and the retellings this year. So this is a reimagining of the King Arthur Arthurian legend, but of course, a modern, fresh, and what I think this book does really well is it gives us a more inclusive perspective. So in The Bright Sword, we're going to follow a young knight who basically shows up to Camelot and realize that, King Arthur is dead, the whole alliance, everything has just fallen apart. So essentially, we see now this young knight kind of coming together with a group of allies to rebuild Camelot, right? Because again, King Arthur has passed away, Britain is in chaos, and, essentially a dumpster fire. So I think, kind of like how I was saying, how James gives us a new reimagining that expands on the original story, but it's also original in itself. This does the same thing. And the way we got Jim's point of view in Huck Finn in James, in this one, we also get the lesser known characters, the more characters that were more in the background in the King Arthur legend being pushed to the forefront. And we just get everything I think people know and love and think of when they think of like an Arthurian legend. So you're going to get magic, you're going to get adventure, just going on this quest. It's like the Fellowship, okay? Not to bring Lord of the Rings into this, but think of it in a similar vibes. You have a group of people from different backgrounds, coming together to pursue, this one thing, which is essentially just, bringing the world back together. So it's a part of a series. I think it's a trilogy. So this is book 1. So listen, jump in, get in on it now. If you don't know anything about King Arthur, if you're probably not even a Lord of the Rings person, if you just love anything mythology and just like epic quests and just going on journeys and that kind of thing, I think you'll appreciate The Bright Sword by Lev Grossman. So that's my last book. Before I hop on here and bring back on my friends, I just want to say, you can find these books and more books in my reading guides, because like I said, these have made features in my winter reading guide for 2024. Some of these books are in my spring reading guide for 2024 and summer reading guide. I haven't shared any of the books that were in my fall guide, so I'm not including that there. But if you want even more recommendations of just books I've read and loved, you can definitely find them in the guides. And I also have a new guide. Okay, so the new guide is out as well. And all the guides are available on Substack. So those are my 5 books. What do you think?
I always say this, but I am really interested in The Bright Sword by Lev Grossman. I think that sounds fascinating.
It is. It just really rebuilds on the myth. And I just realized as I was reading that I shared 2 reimaginings. It was not intentional, but they actually did them really well. So
Nice.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking about reading James, and it's one of the things that intimidates me because it's like it won so many awards, and the awards that I normally don't care about. And I'm like, but this story sounds so good that I'm like, I should actually pay attention to it. So
I feel if anyone has read Huck Finn, like if you haven't read Huck Finn yet, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give you a pass. Okay, I'll give you a pass, slide. But if you've read Huck Finn at any point, I really feel like it should be required reading, which is kind of why I was saying, if they're going to still teach this in school, they need to pair both books. Like you just have to, because it would be good. I was lucky. I had reread Huck Finn for my book club, and I was telling everyone I want to do a Mark Twain newsletter, which I'll get to it. I still haven't done it yet. But I had reread it, and then I got James like two weeks later. So it was so fresh in my mind. So I had like this side-by-side reading that wasn't intentional. So that's what I'm saying. It's a must read. It is a must read for sure. All right, so y'all had enough from me. Don't ask me why the internet is going slow. But Laura is going to be sharing her.
all right, so I am going to be sharing some mysteries, cozy mysteries, and a little bit of in between. 2024 was a year where I took a break from romance. I was a long-term romance reader for about 8 years, and I was like, I just need a break from it. And so I started with cozy mysteries, and I grew up into the mysteries and a little bit of thrillers, popcorn thrillers, and it's just been a joy. So I have 7 titles. One is a 2025 title that's coming out next month. So let's go to the series. So the first one is The Body in the Bookstore by Ellie Alexander. This series is in Kindle Limited. It's also audios available in the libraries. They're short audios. They're about 6 hours. All these books I'm recommending as audios because that's how I consume them. I ended up finding the sweet spot of listening to a cozy mystery before I'm going to bed and not having nightmares. So that's a plus. So The Body in the Bookstore follows this not so much amateur sleuth. She actually did go to school to study criminal justice. But she works at a mystery book club. And so she's like an event planner, kind of like bookseller, everything. But she also has experience with criminal justice. She has like a whole history around a best friend who passed away and there's unsolved mystery, and she's trying to solve that issue. And in this first book, there's actually a mystery fest, which, funny enough, the author actually has a mystery fest set in Ashland, Oregon, and it's like this whole point. So, but in this mystery fest, somebody dies, and the people going there, they're like, "Oh, is this part of the murder mystery show? What's going on?" And no, so the amateur sleuth is like trying to figure out who killed the person, and we get to uncover the rest of the series. I've read all books that have come out in the series. They come out every other month, and it's just kind of like fun. There's one about set in a movie premiere. There's another one about a murder mystery dinner. There's a holiday one. I think there's going to be a Valentine one. So it's a really great series. It's short audio, so it's easy to binge. And if you're looking for Kindle Unlimited, this is one of those series that's for you. The second book is actually a holiday, and I think I've recommended it before. It's by Barbacoa, Bomba, and Betrayal. It's a holiday romance. It's a holiday romance. It's a holiday cozy mystery. And it's not just any holiday. It's the Three Kings holiday, which is January 6th. That's actually when the Three Kings come see Jesus and they give them the gift. And so in this case, the sleuth is a TV presenter. She is an anthropologist who studies Latin Afro-Latino food, and she talks about it in her show. And so she was going to home. She was invited to she was going to go home to Punta Cana to see her parents. And then someone calls her. It's like, hey, you got to come to Puerto Rico to do your Three Kings Day celebration show, a special show. And so we get to see somebody dies and like her first day. And she's like trying to figure out what was the issue. So we get to see Old San Juan, Luquillo, Loíza, all the different sites and scenes. If you ever wanted to go to Puerto Rico, if you're visiting, curious about it, this is a great book to get you in the mood. I'm from Puerto Rico. I am actually from Puerto Rico, and I'm actually in Puerto Rico. And so it's just funny to be like reminded, and it's very topical about like the current situation in Puerto Rico. So I think it's a really great book, not only for the mystery, but also for the culture experience. So that's Barbacoa, Bomba, and Betrayal. The next one is a debut. She's a fellow booktuber, Death and Duck by Courtney Bradley. It's actually, she published her audiobook, and there's a book. This came out earlier this year, and it's Death on Deck by Courtney Bradley. This is a cruise ship. Four grannies are going on a cruise, and somebody dies. They're trying to figure out what it is, but it's like essentially like the four grannies are kind of like just trying to live cruise life while solving a mystery. And they'll have like, and one of them is a cozy mystery author, and there's another one who's a librarian. There's one who's like, it's reminiscent of the Golden Girls, but at the same time a little bit more like fun. So Death and Duck is excellent. Audiobook is excellent. I would just suggest like getting in the book. If you're trying to give it a try, a debut author, Courtney will be one of those to watch for cozy mysteries. The next one is a little bit paranormal, but not too much. It's a Paranormal Light, and it's a Green Reaper's Guide to Catching a Killer by Maxie Dora, I think it is. So the Green Reaper, so she's a Green Reaper. She's pregnant. She's sort of separated with her husband. Her husband still loves her and is like so willing to do whatever it is, but she cannot tell her husband that she's a Green Reaper. And on one day of the job, she finds someone who's like a young teenager who's dead. And she's like, hey, I have to take you to, be a Green Reaper, take you to where you need to go next. And he's like, no, one of you guys kill me. And so she has to figure out who killed him, and like this whole mystery about Green Reapers and stuff. I hope that this is part of a series. She does have a baby, and so she does ask for, I'll come back when I'm on maternity leave, and I give like some like at least in the US an exorbitant amount of time for a date to come back to work. But it's a delightful. You feel the pain for the teenager who passes away, and you feel the Green Reaper like trying to come to terms like with her husband and like having a baby and being pregnant and trying to do this and doing her job, and it's just a lot. So, but it was delightful. The audio is excellent, so this was a fun one to look. It's perfect for Halloween if you want to look for one of those. The next one is a mystery. It's not a cozy, and it's a serial killer's guide to San Francisco. So in this one, the person who is leading, her grandfather was convicted serial killer, or was thought to be a serial killer. And she's trying to uncover, there's like some issues, and she's like, I don't think this is the right guy. And so this is trying to uncover that story. But on a plus side, she actually gives tours about serial killers were happening. And then between, her mother-in-law, who cut her daughter off, because they were rich, they cut her off, she gets killed. And so she's get accused, like they're trying to accuse of murder, and she's trying to uncover that. And all this web of lies come together, and they're just trying to figure out. It's delightful. It's in San Francisco. It's just like a fun little romp of like serial killers. So I think this is a fun one to listen to. Like I would just encourage you. The next one is Errands and Espionage by Sam Yoshida. So imagine if, and this is a mystery rom-com, a murder rom-com. So Errands and Espionage, the heroine is a divorcee. She's recently divorced, mother of 2 kids, and she's fragile. She needs to, her husband told her, you need to go back to work. And she's like, I don't have time. Like, I'm taking care of you and taking care of the ex-husband and stuff like that. Her best friend is a drag queen who lives down the street, and they're amazing. So, but the best part is that one day the CIA comes to her home and says, hey, you look like another agent, and I think you need, and she was killed, so I think you need to come and replace her in this like office job, working with the Russian mafia. We're just trying to uncover something, but it's just an office job. And so she's ill-equipped to be a CIA agent. And so we see the shenanigans of her trying to be a CIA agent. And then the person that she was replacing was a double agent with the Russian mob. And there's another mob. And the best part is a drag queen, because she gets asked to do like a party to entertain the Russian mob. So she's like, I don't have time to do this. Like, I'm trying to solve a mystery. And so she asked her BFF, who's a drag queen, who also is an event planner, like the top event planner of LA, to plan the party. And they planned a party as a mob wives party. So it was very on point with the mafia. So it was delightful. There's actually a cat scene that's actually like, it's just, you just have to look for the cat scene, but it's funny. It's just funny. And you're just trying to think of like, would I be at top to be a CIA agent? I did consider joining the FBI, but I'm too old for that. So I was like, well, I missed that mark. But this was a fun one that I'm like, if you ever thought of being a CIA agent, what it would look like. So that's Errands and Espionage. And I think there's going to be a second book in the series. So we'll follow this character as she grows in her career. And then the final book is a 2025 book that I actually mentioned anticipated next week's episode, but I have to mention it because I really enjoyed this one. It's Murder in the Dressing Room by Holly Stars. This is written by a drag queen. Holly Stars narrates this and is also wrote this book, and it's about a drag queen show that's happening, and the lead person gets killed while wearing, I think she was wearing a Judy Garland thing. So there's like a robbery heist in Kensington. It's set in Britain, and it's just trying to figure out the murder, because she finds all the people who got murdered, and they're trying to figure out what is going on and how they are actually trying to figure out what is, how they solve this mystery, while the police was like, we don't understand what's going on. So this was delightful. It comes out on January 21st. So you have a couple of weeks to look forward to it, but that's it.
Yay. I love those book picks. I actually saw the one with the drag queen. I didn't read it though. So it feels good to kind of hear you saying, okay, it's good. So I'm like, that might be the read I should pick up next.
Yeah, they look so much fun, especially Errands and Espionage. That sounds like a hoot.
That sounds insane. I mean, the picture of, if you ever thought of joining the FBI, I'm like, well, you do internet sleuthing from time to time. So,
Yeah,
I got it. It's fine. I'll totally do it.
Fine. The only I consider, I was like, I'm surrounded by agents and stuff, and so I consider, and I was like, oh, maybe I should do it. And they were like, first you had to move to some random location, and I was like, I don't want to move to some random location. No. And then the salary cap, I'm like, no, maybe I'll just work in the private sector. But but you have to be 37, because I guess there's a mandatory retirement age. So you have to, you retire, I think, after 20 something years. You can't stay forever. So, which is good. But 37 is the cutoff year, and you have to go through a psych test, a real, like a physical test. You have to go training in Quantico. Like there's a whole, like, it's a rigorous thing to do. But FBI tends to hire accountants, which I didn't realize this.
Of course.
A lot of accountants, a lot of CPAs, they're the ones who are straight off FBI. Because a lot of it is white collar crime, and guess who can figure it out? It's accountants.
Yeah.
Listen,
it's always
accounting. It's always the money. Follow
it's always
the money. Yeah, but I kind of feel like most government jobs are like, well, certain government jobs, because it's the same thing with the military. Like they have a cutoff age.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But part of me is also like it's physical. But here's a fun fact for folks watching. They occasionally raise the age. So if you look
Yeah.
like what the age was like in the 90s and the 2000s, like it has been going up, and it's
Mhm.
known to go up if they have a need. So sometimes it's
Yeah.
just skill, you know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
there still might be
The
hope.
opportunity is there.
No,
Yes.
I think I like my comfortable life and my
Yeah.
comfortable salary in private sector. So we're good. We're good. The
I'm just
temptation is there, but do I want to spend 18 weeks in Quantico? No.
no.
No YouTube. There will be no YouTube. So no, we
Facts. We
will.
wouldn't be able to do the live. Okay,
Yeah.
yes, scrap that. Scrap that. Okay, okay. All right. So Francesca is up next.
Yes. Okay, so I have a hodgepodge of things, and mostly because, well, like, one of my goals for reading in 2024 was to mood read. I went through a huge slump in reading the past like couple of years, and I didn't really get to read a lot. And a lot of that was me trying to force myself to read things that I didn't want to read or that I was really not enjoying. So this year, the goal was just read whatever you want. So you're going to find a bit of a hodgepodge in this list because I tried to pick books that I really, really love. So I'm not really easy to get 5-star reads. So I feel like they're not all 5-star reads, but they get close. So I wanted to give you a little bit of everything. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is from a beloved series, and it is American Demon by Kim Harrison. This is book 14 in the Hollow series. Now, this is not a series that you want to pick up out of order. So if you haven't read the Hollow series, like this would not be the book where you start at the beginning. But basically, this is about a witch-born demon, Rachel Morgan, and she lives in Cincinnati. And at this time, everybody knows about supernaturals in this version of the world. It's kind of post-apocalyptic. There was this huge thing, the vampires and all the supernatural creatures are out, and our main character is a witch, and she basically works kind of like as a bounty hunter. And in the previous book in the series, which actually, fun fact, used to be the final book in the series, and there was a hiatus in the series, and this one kind of brought the series back. And it did come out a couple of years ago, so full disclosure there. So there's a couple more books for me to catch up on. But because of that, I had put the series on hold because I kind of felt like I wanted to leave it like tied up with that nice little neat bow. But I decided starting off this year, because I read this way early in the year, it's a series that I really love. I kind of felt like it was going to be one that I enjoyed. So I said, let's get back into it. And I am so happy I did. I really love this book. It is kind of like the consequences of what happened in the previous book. There are zombies around the city. There is a new demon that was unleashed on the city. So lots and lots of consequences. And Rachel, which is part of like something that she did in the previous book, is what's caused all this mayhem to fall on Cincinnati. She has to kind of come to terms with the power that she unleashed and the power that her and her allies had to use to basically save the world in the previous book. And she has to make a lot of personal sacrifices in this book to deal with all of those consequences. So it is a book where, and this is something that happens in all of the books in this series, but she does have to learn to deal with her actions and grow. So with every book in the series, there's a lot of character growth, and we also get plenty of mystery and action and magic and different worlds, and of course all these different like timelines and stuff. So there's a lot of fun. There's murders in the series, there's the zombies, so lots of fun shenanigans, and her cast of core main characters that are always with her. So you're still gonna get like plenty of bonds and friendships and family and love interest, which I was super excited about because this series did drag on this romantic, like, who is she going to end up with throughout the first 13 books or 12 books in the series. So you don't really get to know who she ends up with until then. So it was so nice to finally see her back with, not going to say who, but getting, that little bit of that after HEA kind of interaction, which it was everything that I wanted. So let's just say that. The next book that I'm going to talk about came out early in the year, and it's Legacy of Temptation by Larissa Ione. This is actually the first book in the Demonica Birthright series. It's a paranormal romance. Now, the Demonica Birthright is a spin-off series, so it's a new generation from the Demonica series and the Lords of Deliverance series. However, you don't have to read any of that to read this book. So I think that she does a really well job at describing everything that you need about the world and giving you enough information so that you know who these characters are, even when you're seeing some of the characters that are the parents, because like I said, this is a second generation. So you're getting plenty of what you need to know. So you can start here if you want. Why would you? Because the Monica series is, in my opinion, one must-read series for paranormal romance lovers. It's one of those series that is really packed with action and blending that really well with romance. So it's not just a romance, you're really in it for just some really high stakes, intense, gritty action in supernatural chaos. So that is one of my favorite things about the series and spin-offs and everything. So that in and of itself would be one reason to put this on your TBR. Book 2 just came out recently. I also really loved it. So it's not on this list, but it is on this list, which was, I think, Legacy of Chaos. But basically in this one, we have the son of one of the horsemen of the apocalypse, Death. And he is working for this demon response team because in this world also all the supernaturals are out, society knows about them, and society is not too happy about the supernaturals. So there are a couple of organizations that basically work on dealing with demons and dealing with all the supernaturals, kind of like to tackle them and kill them and get rid of them. So one of those organizations is called Aegis, and the Aegis is basically to eradicate demons. Like, that's their job. They don't like them. They go, they hunt them, they kill them. And there is another organization called DART, which is the demon response team. And our hero, who is a demon, and he is the son of Death, but nobody really knows that. He works for DART. There's a lot of demons that work for DART. And they're having kind of like team exercise retreat with the Aegis organization, which is all humans and all demon killers, basically demon hunters. And our heroine is one of the spokespersons for Aegis, and she wants to actually get a promotion and be the chief spokesperson for Aegis. So she's very much about her killing demons job. And they're working on this retreat together. She has to have a good performance during this exercise in order to get her promotion. And she has no idea that she's basically working during this whole team with a bunch of demons. And of course, something happens and all of that truth comes out. And she ends up being one of the kind of like, they blame this death on her. And she's basically on the run from both organizations. And our hero is the one that is assigned to be her protector in order, to make sure that she doesn't get killed by these supernatural forces. There's demons and dangers from the past that are coming up and things like that. So he's basically her protector, reluctant, because he's not very happy about it. Again, she kills demons. And fun fact is the fact that because he is the son of one of the horsemen of the apocalypse, the Aegis organization has known about him since he was born, and they've been trying to kill him specifically since he was a baby. So lots of animosity there, but they get through it, and there's a really intense connection between the two of them. So it really develops in a really strong romance while there's really high stakes things happening in the rest of the world. So again, it's got a very complex world building, but it's explained so well, I think, by Larissa Ione that it really flows really easily for you to understand it. So absolutely love this one. And then the next one is where we go into my contemporary romances. So one thing that I discovered this year is that I like dark romances with humor. And this one is one, which is Butcher and Blackbird by Brynne Weaver. I really love this book. I still haven't read book 2, and I know book 3 is coming out next year, which is one of my most anticipated. So I got to catch up. But this one was so much fun because it's basically about two serial killers. So both of these guys, the heroine and the hero, are serial killers, but what they do is they're vigilante serial killers. So they go and kill other serial killers. So they're trying to just hunt down the bad guys, basically. And they meet because he ends up finding her and saving her in a precarious situation. And from there, they've basically developed this competition, this yearly competition of kills. So who's going to hunt down who and who kills more and like that kind of stuff. So sometimes they have to go and kill together. And there's a lot of really funny moments that happen in between. Like, for example, he sends food to her house and he's calling her to like teach her how to cook remotely and like that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of fun moments, a lot of like, there's even parts of the book where you think that something really dark is happening, but at the same time it's funny. So I think that Bring Weaver was excellent and masterful at writing those kind of moments that I thought I wouldn't like and I absolutely loved. So it was the book that made me discover this new liking and this new genre, and I'm definitely going to be reading more. And the next book I picked up because it was recommended as a comparison to Butcher and Blackbird, and that is Lights Out by Navessa Allen. So this one is a masked man stalker romance, and that sounds like it would be really dark. And there are some dark things that happen in this book. However, it is incredibly funny. It's also incredibly steamy and sexy, but it's incredibly funny. So I would actually recommend this as a rom-com. I know that sounds really weird to say because it does have a stalker and it has a murder and there's dark things that happen, but it's a rom-com. So just trust me, he's a sweet cat daddy. It is just amazing. It starts off with him being a online persona. So he does these thirst trap videos with a mask. Nobody knows who he is. She watches those videos. Somehow they end up with him knowing who she is, and he breaks into her house and he's stalking her. Consensual stalking, I guess, kind of. So it's a lot of fun. Really highly recommend it. I especially think it's a great audiobook to listen to. It was really fun to listen to on audio. And the next book that I have today is, hold on, one of my absolute favorites of the year, and that is Phantasma by Kylie Smith. I was debating whether I was going to mention this one or not because I've talked about this book here on the Novel Nights show before, but I just had to because I absolutely loved it. It is for longtime fans of paranormal romance. I think it's a book that really brings back like the OG days of paranormal romance, like the peak time when paranormal romance was really popular. And I think that it's hopefully going to bring about more of that. I feel like paranormal romance has gotten very light and fluffy and funny. And the best part, in my opinion, of paranormal romance was when it was really gritty and raw and kind of like really high stakes and like true danger is there. So that's what this book gave me. It has really beautiful prose too. I really enjoyed it. I would actually say this is one of my top book boyfriends of the year too. Also Lights Out was probably one of my favorite book boyfriends of the year. So there's two. But this one is kind of a ghost or haunted house romance. The hero is a ghost. The heroine is a necromancer. And she's going into this haunted house, kind of a competition to search for her sister. And things happen. You know, she's going through these deadly games and trying to get closer to her sister. She makes a deal with this ghost to help her to kind of find her sister and make it out alive. And things happen from there. Things are not what they seem. And it was just truly a fun, enjoyable book. So those are my books for this year. Kind of a little bit darker in tone. So I feel like that's the vibe I was going with for the year, but I just went with it.
Sounds good. I still haven't read Phantasma yet, but I have it on the list. I have it on the list.
So good. I finished Phantasma a couple of days ago and I loved it. It was actually would have been a top like paranormal book for me. Like it reminded me of Caravel. It reminded me of this haunted house competition, yet at the same time we're just trying to connect with your sister and trying to figure out your own powers. And the twist at the end was just like, holy crap. So
it was fun.
Yeah, We love this. We love this. But we'd love to hear from you guys as well. Okay. So let us know in the comments. What are some of your favorite books of 2024? Listen, here's the thing. It doesn't have to be good that everyone is going to say, like, oh, this is good. It's just you read it, you loved it, it worked for you. Okay.
Yeah.
We don't care about anyone else. We care about what we read and what works for us. So don't be ashamed. Let us know in the comments. If you're watching us live, let us know. Replay crew, we would love to hear from you as well. But yeah, so that's it for our best books of 2024. Now, update. This is our last live. And I'm saying live with air quotations just in case you're not watching, but you're listening. Because we are live right now. However, next week we have a show planned for you, but it's going to be a pre-recording. So next week we're going to be sharing our most anticipated books of next year, 2025. So we are going to do the same thing we do every week, go around, share each of our most anticipated books for the year. So that's next week, December 26th. So day after Christmas, okay? After you've kicked everyone out of your house, hopefully. Or now you've just finally gotten past the holiday and you're just like, phew, okay, you know, then just kick your feet up and watch our video as we share the most anticipated books of 2025. So
I won't be kicking too much.
Yes. So that's next week, Thursday, December 26th, 7 p.m. Eastern time. It will be going live. We just won't be here live. Okay, pre-recording. Then the following week, January 2nd, we won't be live again. However, again, we have plans for you. We're going to be sharing, okay, tips to help you read more books in 2025 if that's what you want to do. Because again, we're not about telling you what to do here. You do you, you live your best life. If you want to read more books, we have tips for you. If you're looking for reading challenges, we have reading challenges for you as well. If you want to know about the book apps, because there are lots of apps out there. So if you want to know about the book apps and what book app might work for you, like what are the pros, what are the cons? Do you just want to track basic stuff? Are you super advanced and you want details and this and that? We're going through all the apps with you. And that's going to be January 2nd. Okay. So January 2nd, Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern time again. And then we will be back live on January 9th. Right. So technically we're on a holiday, but we still have content rolling. Content is rolling.
Mm-hmm.
You will be fed. We're keeping you company. If you're spending the holidays alone, or if you're just really looking forward to kicking the people out even before they get there, you can find comfort in the content. Okay. So tell a friend to tell a friend about our channels. I'm Biblio Lifestyle. Fran is under the book covers. Laura is what to read next. You have lots of content to keep you going. We're also on Substack.
Mm-hmm.
So be sure to check us out on Substack, right? And yeah, we have lots of goodies to look forward to. But Fran, what are you excited about for the new year? What are you looking forward to? Just tell the peoples, because now we're here live.
So I am excited, actually. We've already done our novel nights plan, but I've also been doing a lot of under the covers planning, and there's a lot of exciting content and exciting things that we have going on. Obviously, we have Romance Happily, so I'm super excited about the challenge, both creating the content and seeing what everybody's reading, but also for my own reading, because it's going to be fun. And I also will be starting out a new book club, which is basically going to be live videos once a month on YouTube, but most of the discussions can happen on Substack. So be sure to head over there for more. And that's going to be the League of Lusty Ladies. It used to be a book club that we had many years ago. It's just coming back. So I'm excited for all of the things and all of the content. There's lots of fun things that I have planned out for the new year.
Awesome. Laura, what are you looking forward to in 2025?
So I'm looking for a more relaxing year, but the good news is that that's probably not going to happen. So the podcast is going to do a little bit of reshaping. We're going to go live once a week, probably on Tuesday afternoons. We might have some guests. It might just be me. It might be chit-chatting. We're not going to have a lot of author interviews. We're probably going to decrease them a lot, and that's okay. There's 700 episodes for you to pick and choose your author interviews for that. But we're going to do a little bit more live, more interaction, and we're going to do some more solo shows. I'm going to give you tips and reading, how to read in a budget, what you track, what you do, all the different content you need, and it's going to go live, and it's going to be video podcast. So you're going to be able to watch it on Spotify or on YouTube, or you can listen on iTunes, until iTunes decide to add video.
Yes. I love all these plans. For me, I'll just end by saying I want 2025 to be a year of less. I want it to be a year of less. Okay. I quit my Friday newsletter. I'm going all in on Substack. So all my newsletters will be available on Substack. That's a big change. These two will tell you, because we talk every day. It was such a split-second decision, but ever since I made it, I feel good. My body physically feels good. I know my bank account will thank me later. So I can unsubscribe from all, just all the platforms and software used to, deliver content. So I'm really excited to spend more time on Substack. So you guys will be hearing me talking more about Substack because it's a big thing I'll be doing. Of course, lots of fun YouTube content I'm planning, looking forward to that as well. The podcast, like Laura, will be looking different. So that's, it's going to be an adventure. Let's say that, because I don't have a clear plan. The blog will be blogging and social media will be social mediaing. So, lots of personal life changes, and now I'm making content changes as well. I'm just going to try and let go. I'm a bit of a control freak. So for 2025, come to the vision board workshop. I'll be announcing it on Substack on Sunday. I do it every year. We plan a vision board. I'm going to throw in a bingo card as well. Journaling, setting up our journals, both for reading, or personal life, because, personal life and reading life intersect. And my big thing is less is more, but also letting go, trying to let go of control and just let what be, because we can't control all these things out here. So, we're doing the best we can. Yeah. So that's my 2025. Again, we'd love for you all to join us. We'll be here next week with the pre-recording, 7 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be there the following week on the 2nd with a pre-recording as well. That will be the reading goals and reading challenges and all the things. And then we will be back live to just goof off with you all back on the 9th. So take care, everyone. Have a good holiday season. Take it easy if you can. Okay, don't do too much. And we're looking forward to seeing you all next time. I mean, did I miss anything? Anything else you all want to say? Nope. And the app is already apping. I just can't. But anyways, take care, everyone, and we'll see you next time.